Okay, good evening everyone, and welcome to another live one-to-one card reading with myself, Lady Moonlight. Let me just adjust this camera a little bit. Apologies for the old camera, back again. Technical issues with my other one. Definitely going to invest in a new tablet today because I think the other one is just testing my patience as far as technology goes. So when it comes to that, it's time for new tablet. But in the meantime, at least I have this one so that the show can go on, as it were. Let me see if I can tag a few people in here. Let's see. Okay. Do you know what? Let's not. I've given up with the Facebook tagging because it just takes far too long. I do advertise when I'm going live now, so hopefully we get at least one or two people coming on this evening. If not, it's going to be a short session. Because as you all know, it's first come, first served on a Wednesday evening. So you come along, you ask me to pick a card, and I will pick a card for you. Hi Wendy, how are you? And just because you're first in the door, would you like a card this evening? Because you're the first one to jump on this evening. I sure can. Now, which card would you like? You can have, in fact, I'm going to do a choice of 3 today because I'm in a generous mood. I'm in a good mood today, so you got a choice of 3 cards, decks that you can choose from tonight. Woohoo! Power of 3, right? You can choose the Old Faithful, or you can choose an angel card, or you can choose a moon card. So you got a choice of 3 today. So I'm going to let you pick whether you want the Old Faithful, angel cards, or the moon. Old Faithful. Everyone loves the Old Faithful. Okay, let's shuffle the Old Faithful deck. These ones have been with me forever and a day, and I love them. Yes, they're a bit like myself, a bit shabby around the edges, but do you know, I just love them. And by the way, congratulations on being nominated for the I Am a Vera award. And I always say, you know what, it doesn't matter if we win or we don't win the I Am a Vera award. The fact that somebody actually took time to nominate somebody for it is, I think, it's just great. So yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Wendy and I are kind of on the same team in Avera. We just love the products. What can I say? The company has just grown so huge this last little while, and I'm just so pleased that the Mystic Witch has incorporated Avera and all the many brands that come under the Avera umbrella under the Mystic Witch. Yeah, it's all the ethics that I live by. It's natural products. There's no chemicals in there. There's no nasties in there. From their lashes to their wellness to their skincare. I recently did a skincare live earlier on today. I can't fault their skincare. I can't fault the collaborations. We are a multi-brand company now, and our brands and our categories are growing by the day, which I absolutely love. Isn't it such a big, but you know, yeah, it's a big surprise, but it's beautiful surprises when you get nominated. I actually got a card through the door saying, congratulations, you've been nominated. And do you know what, even though I didn't win it, I don't care. The fact that people took time out to nominate you for an award, that's an award in itself, I think. And it's lovely that Tracy got nominated as well. I saw Tracy's name in the nominees list as well. So I just think that's wonderful. That, you know, when your Avira teammates take time out of their day to nominate you, I just think, wow, just wow. But yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's shuffle these Old Faithful cards for you and see where the card is taking you. So glad to hear your new job is going well. That is fantastic. Excuse the noisy boys in the living room. I think they've just sussed out that their dad is away to bring some treats in for them, so they're getting extra excited. But yeah, and we've got a new lash, I am thankful, which I just think says it all, right? It just sums up. I'm definitely going to get that new lash. I need that, but yeah. Okay. So let's pick this card for you and see what your card says. Okay. So you've got the 5 of Cups. Okay. So the 5 of Cups is saying, you know, it's kind of saying that the past was, let's just say, a little bit rough, right? And we know that, right? You've kind of gone through the mill and it's kind of left you feeling ups and downs. Towards the future, yes, there's going to be a few rocky emotions because, you know, you've got a few spilt cups in front of you. But we all know, right, life does now and again throw us an emotional curveball, right? And I know that just recently you've kind of had to change jobs as well. You went from, you know, having a really good job, then not having a job at all, then going into a job that you pretty much hated, and then changing from that job into the new job, etc., and then juggling family and Avira and everything. It's no wonder your emotions are spilled out everywhere, right? Because you've had your highs, you've had your lows, and this is what this card is pretty much reminding you of, is that, yes, we have our highs, yes, we have our lows, but at the end of the day, you know, there's no point, as my old grandmother used to say, in crying over spilt milk, right? If you spill your milk, you know, you can't sup it up. You can't sort of scoop it all back into the milk bottle and drink it, right? It's wasted. It's gone. It's spilled. The deed's done. Blah, 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 right? So it's the same with the emotions. Spilled emotions. What's gone, we cannot change. But what we can change is the here and now, the moment that we live in, and our future. And this card is reminding you there's no point in looking back at what was sort of empty promises and, you know, failed jobs or you know, no jobs or whatever, that's gone, right? And all the upset, the tears and the emotions and everything that goes with that, that is all gone. There's no point in dwelling it, because on dwelling that isn't going to get you anywhere. However, you know, look at what you got, right? You know, we've just sat and watched a fantastic webinar together. And some exciting things come in with Avira alone, right? That's nothing to get upset about, right? That's something to celebrate. Also, the fact that you were nominated is also another thing to celebrate as well. And also the new job, which isn't as tough as your old job. Yes, it has its challenges, but not as bad as your first job, right? And I see that this new job is going to be a stepping stone, because, you know, sometimes we need 2 or 3 stepping stones before we actually get to where we want to be, right? And it's kind of like, well, we do what we can to get a few extra pennies or a few extra dollars or dimes or whatever, until such times as things improve, finances improves, and we get better and we take control of our own lives. And that's exactly what this card is saying. You know, yes, we can lick our wounds from the past, and we can kind of say, phew, you know, but at the same time, we can pat ourselves on the back and says, do you know what? After all of that, after everything that I've gone through, guess what? I'm still standing. Guess what? I'm still smiling. Guess what? I ain't defeated yet. And I ain't going to be defeated. Because if you've gone this far already, imagine how far you can go in the future, right? And I, for one, believe in you, girl. You've got a team of wonderful people who believe in you. You know, and new jobs open new doors as well, right? Because your new job is also new Avira customers when you look at it that way, you know? And it's kind of how I see it, because when I bump into people in the street and they're kind of like, wow, love your tan, love your skin, how do you look amazing? Simple, it's Avira, right? Or it's Passport to Beauty, or it's Nourish Mantra, or it's Freedom, or whatever the case may be. It might be Avira or whatever. And it's the things that we love and that we are passionate about will lead to the same kind of people that are as passionate about those things as what you are, all right? And yes, life can kick us in the teeth from time to time. But then even at that, we've got a choice. If life kicks us down, do we stay on the ground and just say, I'm giving up? Or do we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves down and says, do you think, well, was that your best shot? Was that truly your best shot at stopping me from reaching my goals? Well, if it was, guess what? You failed, because this girl's up and standing again and this girl's ready to go. That's a fire that you have within you. And sometimes loved ones in spirit are saying, sometimes you forget that. And we do, don't we? Sometimes we think things have got worse now than they were back then. But if we truly look at what we've left behind, are we in such a bad place right now? Probably not. But because we put the past behind us a lot of the time, we forget those bad days. We forget those days that we had nothing. We forget those days where, you know, nobody knew who you were, nobody cared, whatever else. And suddenly we're kind of in a community, I guess, with Avira, where we have made so many friends within Avira. And I think the community is just wonderful. And I see you working full-time at Avira, and that this new job is a stepping stone. And all the tears of the past, all the mishaps of the past will eventually be a distant memory, if that makes sense. So I hope this card has meaning for you. Keep going is the message of this card, because there are better days ahead, certainly for this person that's in the card. It's basically saying, yes, you've been kicked around, you've had some hard knocks in your life, etc., etc. But things are going to get better from here on in, all right? And this new job that you've got, yes, it's a lot easier. There's still a lot of challenges ahead, but I see this as a stepping stone, all right? There's going to be a few more emotions yet to come. There's going to be a few more testing times to come, but you've got more than what you need to get you through this, right? You just need to believe in yourself just as much as others believe in you. And the fact that you are nominated definitely means that, somebody believes in you. Oh, I love you too, sister. I love you too. Life can knock us down. When I look back on my own life, I have so many people that have judged me wrongly. Not through anything that I've done or said, but through things other people have said to them about me. Right? Oh my goodness me, I've been deemed as a fake. I've been deemed as, a harlot who split up her family, who, gave up a man that apparently loved me with all his heart, etc., etc., and broke up the happy family to be with my current partner. Now, all these people that claimed that, not one of them, not one, had the wisdom to come and ask me if any of that was true. They took it as gospel, right? Oh, why? Because my ex had a good job. My ex was a father, right? He was also a grandparent, right? My ex went around telling everybody I was hard work and I was unfaithful and I was having an affairs left, right and centre. The truth was, my ex was and still is a child abuser. The truth was, yes, my ex had a good job, right? But that job was a smokescreen for his dirty dealings. That job was a smokescreen to him abusing his wife and his own daughter, who is now also groomed so well she abuses her own children. Yeah. You see, people saw me as the wrongdoer. How could I leave such a wonderful man, father? How could I leave such a man who worked all his days providing for his family? How could I have an affair? Now here's the thing. Throughout the 30-year marriage, he was having an affair with teenage schoolgirls. He was having an affair with another woman. And when I left him, he fell straight into the arms of that other woman. In fact, he even tried to fool me to say that he was on a business trip. He wasn't. He was on holiday for a weekend with his other woman. But yet I was the woman who was the one that was scorned as the one that was unfaithful, the one that, how could they leave such a wonderful man, etc., etc. So I could look back on my life and think, do you know what? I should be really bitter about the people who judged me wrongly, but ultimately I'm not. Because ultimately, who's the foolish one? The ones that didn't take the time to actually get to know me and believed in a child abuser over somebody who was innocent in it all. Now, thank the goddess, I have a wonderful partner who knows the truth. He knows me inside out. I have a wonderful sister, such as yourself, and I have wonderful friends, wonderful sister friends who know me inside out and who know the truth. They're the people in our lives that are the important ones, not the people who follow the abusers, the users, and the child molesters. Yeah, he is. Yep, he certainly is. But you know what? Karma is a witch and a bitch, and his karma is coming. And everyone that follows my ex's abusive family, that includes my daughter, who is also a child abuser, good luck with that one, because karma's coming to bite you too. As for me, yes, I may have gone through 30 years of abuse. Yes, I may have gone through a lifetime of bullying. And yes, I may have gone through so much more. But here's the thing. I'm still standing. Here's the thing. And so many people wanted me to come off Facebook. So many people tried to ruin my readings, my Avira, whatever. And you know what? There will continually be people coming from my ex's side or supporters of my ex's side to try and stop me doing from what I do and what I love doing, which is, promoting natural products, doing my readings, sending healing to the sick or whatever else. That's who I am. That's who I always will be. Now you can take me or you can leave me. It doesn't matter in my world. It really, really, truly does not matter in my world, because the right ones will stay. And as I have proven in the past, the wrong ones will exit stage left or exit stage right, whichever door they want to take. Will it stop me from doing what I love doing? No. My daughter tried, in the first year that I left my ex, my daughter reported everything I did on Facebook and got others to report me as well. 4 times in 1 year, my account was shut down. 4 times. To the extent where Facebook decided it wasn't giving me my account back. Now, I lost all of my Facebook photos. I lost all of my Facebook stuff, etc., etc. Did that stop me? I just simply opened another Facebook account and I went totally private. And since then, my daughter, my ex's family have not been able to shut me down again on Facebook, which I'm so grateful for. Many will come along, I'm sure, and many will keep trying, but good luck on that one. Just remember, though, that, for every deed, in fact, I think that came up in the card of the day, but for every deed that we do wrong, karma's watching. And it may not catch up with us today or tomorrow, or the next day. But you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to catch up with you and it's going to bite you in the arse. Oh, thank you, Lucy. Hello, beautiful. Oh, thank you. You know what? Don't get me wrong. There are times I have thought about giving up. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Got so many haters, got so many trolls in my life. And by the way, for any of the trolls watching, just for your information, I know who you all are. I'm a witch. I know these things. You know, and you may think you're pulling the wool over this witch's eyes. I've had so many trolls. I know the way they work. But yeah, you know, I've been hit with trolls, haters, you know, people that follow everybody else's advice about me. Not one person has, you know, bothered to actually ask me whether any of the information about me was true. And I'll tell you a true story. One of the true stories was I was in a witches group once. Well, it wasn't even a witches group. It was supposed to be a paranormal group. It was as much as a paranormal group as Flea in the Air, right? It was wannabe paranormals. And there was a couple of admins on there. And they were pretty much, you know, they asked me to come and do readings in their group. And I was more than delighted to help them out. However, what actually happened was this group had 3 readers, myself and 2 other admins. And the other 2 admins had been reading in that group for quite a long time. And then I came along and they'd asked me to read. Now, just like I do free readings here every Wednesday, on my day that I was to read, I had more people asking me to do readings than the 2 readers that had been doing their weekly readings since the day the group was started. Now, you would think they would be quite happy, right? We found this reader who's come in and has boosted our group and who is getting the group interacting with people asking her for readings. What they actually did was they started stirring a cauldron of lies. One woman even claimed that I had gone to America, I was called to America to speak on an American chat show. And during that chat show, I was found out to be a fake witch, a fake reader, and a fake spiritual lady. Now that to me was very, very interesting when I found out. One, I didn't have a passport, let alone have I ever been to America in this lifetime? No. Have I ever been in an American chat show? No. Yet here was this woman convincing a 10K group of people that I had been on this chat show. And I had been humiliated on this chat show live in front of thousands of viewers as a fake witch, etc., etc. Now, I don't know which Lady Moonlight they were intending or they were talking about, but let me tell you, it certainly wasn't me. You certainly can. Oh, thank you. I love you too. And I will catch your live on the replay, Wendy. And yes, Lucy Lou, you can have a card. I don't have a waiting list. I've just done Wendy's list and I'm just passing time by kind of telling my story, as it were, for all the new people in the group that don't know me. So yeah, definitely. So you've got a choice of 3 cards today. You can have the Old Faithful, or you could have one of my moon cards, or you can have an angel card. Tough choice, huh? Might as well. Yep, because she's here. I knew you were coming before you came because she's been kind of sitting in the background. Old Faithful. Everyone loves my Old Faithful cards as much as I do. I think that's fantastic. Okay, Old Faithful it is. Good choice. And I'm asking your Nan to be polite and just not chuck my cards all over the place. I don't really want to spend the next half hour picking cards up all over the place. How have you been? I know you've been a busy bee working. I've also been a busy bee. We had the karaoke night at the weekend, and then we had Sawen walk in the woods, etc. So it's been hectic. Yep, she always does. Look, she's mixed up my cards already, honestly. I've got my cards, some mixed up back to front. Okay, do you know what? I'm just going to shuffle them. Honest to goodness me. I'm sitting there shuffling these cards and I'm like, some of these are back to front. How the heck did that happen? Yeah, I saw that. See, they did say you were going to get your feather on. Do you know what? I'm going to have to sort these cards out after this live. She's totally they are, my cards are back to front, upside down and inside out. And I haven't touched them apart from shuffling them. They weren't like that when I was actually shuffling Wendy's cards. I'm like, how did that happen? Yeah, I mean, when I'm shuffling these, you can see some of the cards are like facing the wrong way. I'm like, what the actual, never mind. I'm not rearranging them. I'm just gonna, oh my goddess, I'm just gonna, oh, right, okay, she has chucked the card. Right, okay. Right, I guess she's chosen your card for you. Thanks, Nan. Or thanks, Lucy's Nan. That was, at least it was one. It was one card. Oh, goddess. Right, I knew the minute that your Nan came into the room, there was going to be chaos. Not only do I have to rearrange my cards now. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, my cards were in order earlier on, so I'm just gonna have to rearrange them later on. Okay, the card that she so politely chucked on the floor is the 6 of Wands. All right. So, I'm not sure if you've seen the recent video that I put up on the cards, but when wands come into play, it represents career, it represents jobs, hobbies, and such forth. When a horse is thrown into the fray, it also means travel, right? So I feel that, it also means speed as well. So if we look at this card closely, the job that you're in, you haven't been in it for long. You haven't, it's not been a job that you've been in it for years and years and years, right? It started off as just a job that you always wanted to sort of go into, and you got in there, and you worked your tush off, right? For the short time that you've been there, though, as many other cards have indicated, right? You've basically stirred up a hornet's nest in there, right? Okay? Because nothing Lucy does, she does quietly. When Lucy enters a room, she makes a big impact, right? She impacts on everyone around her in a positive, but fun-loving way, as well as being serious, right? And that hasn't gone unnoticed, okay? It hasn't gone unnoticed. So when the horse comes in your instance, I feel that the horse could either mean travel, or it could mean things happening very quickly. And I actually see the horse as things happening quickly, all right? So you'll see that you've got the 2 wands behind, but you've also got 3 wands coming into the future, from the present right into the future. And the horse is leading the way. That means that you've gone from kind of like trainee, or you've kind of gone from the bottom of the ladder, and you're slowly going to be working your way, I'm saying slowly but quickly, going to be working your way up the ladder, right? But you're not always going to be in the position that you are now. There are going to be different doors opening up. And it's like, okay, we've seen that Lucy can do this. Let's just throw her in this aspect of the work. Let's just throw her in that aspect of the work, right? And I feel that you're going to go from the position that you're already in just now, and you're going to be put into different other positions within that same workplace, and you're going to basically go from the top of the bottom of the ladder to the top. Yay! There you go. And this is what this card is basically saying. You're not just going to be one of these people that are going to go into the job and sit in the same bit, or sit in the same office, or whatever else, and never go places. Your work, your top bosses have got your future sewn up. There are things that you know are happening right now, but at the same time, this card is saying there are things that you may not know now, but you soon will, because the horse is sort of speeding things up. The course that you've got tomorrow, that's only the beginning, right? That is only the beginning. That's the start of wonderful things to come within you. You know, there are so many avenues in the job that you've got that you could go down, right? There are so many directions, from answering phones for emergency calls, to being on the front line, or to be, officer material, whatever. There are just so many different routes and directions and options that you could go within your workplace. It's not just, okay, this is where you are, this is where you're going to stay for good, right? That's not the way it's going to work with this one, right? And I feel that they're going to be putting so many fingers in so many pies for you, if that makes sense. There you go, see? Fingers in many pies. So I feel that, the people you work with, they want Lucy around, right? They don't want her going anywhere else. So they're going to reward you for all your efforts that you're currently doing just now. And they're going to make things even more better for you, to the point where you don't really want to be leaving the work at all, right? You don't want to be going anywhere other than the work. So yes, travel horse can also mean learning, going to different jobs, going to different locations, right? I remember when I was working as a full-time carer before I thankfully got to retire early. I used to have to travel all over the place to go for different courses here, there and everywhere. So I was never stuck in the same place. But I'm grateful for the experience and I'm grateful for the chance of that learning. And I feel that this company that you're with has that same potential, right? There are so many courses, there's so many directions, there's so many things that you can do. Your hierarchy or your bosses, whatever, have seen your potential. And they're not ignoring that potential. They're actually going to be offering you a lot more, if that makes sense. But yeah, I can see good things coming very, very quickly. It may have been a slow start when you first joined that company because, or organization, because you were pretty new to it. But the more that you got to know the people around you and the more that the people around you got to know you, the more they loved. And you just fitted like a glove. You fitted in like a glove. And, you know, when we do that and when we work hard at the things that we love, things may start slow, but then they progress. You know, and that's exactly what's going to be happening with you, you know. And I've got your nan in my ear saying, yeah, and if that don't happen, they've got a nan to deal with. So any of Lucy's colleagues watching, beware. Big Nan is watching. Just saying, just saying. If she can throw my card on the floor, she can throw and toss a few people around, let me tell you. Oh, but yeah. Yep, do you know what? You know, your nan has been rooting for you pretty much from day one. I love when you come into a room and ask for a reading, because even before you come into the room to ask for the reading, your nan's already there and saying, guess who's coming? Guess who's coming? Yeah, I know, Lucy's going to come, right? So I already know before you come into a room, because I'm not going to say too much because your nan's like right there. But yeah. She has eyes and ears and she knows before I know. So, and I ain't arguing with your nan. She's already marked up my cards. So, yeah, I ain't arguing with her. I'm actually asking her that. Oh, tell me. Oh my goodness me. I'm actually asking if she's going to let anybody come in. All right. Okay, I don't know what this means, but she's kind of slipping aside or stepping aside. And then there's this young man coming forward. I can't see his face because he's still kind of standing in the shadows. I'm not even getting a name, but I am getting Colonel. Now, I don't know if that means he was a colonel. I feel officer and a gentleman material. I feel he is, going by his clothes, he is very smartly dressed. Quite handsome and dapper to the point. Is, you know how you see these films sometimes and it's like an officer and a gentleman and they're, they've just got this gentleman air and grace about them. You know, their hair is set just right, their boots are shiny or their shoes are shiny, and their uniform or they're suited and booted just right. This is what this gentleman looks like. He is so smartly dressed. I feel he takes pride in his appearance. You know, I don't know if he was actually a colonel or whether he was just known as colonel. But I just see him in, I can't even, it's like he's dressed in black. I don't know if it's a black suit or a black uniform, but it's like he's dressed in, he's because he's standing in the shadow. I wish he would come out into the light a little bit. But in the shadows, which is all I can describe him as at the minute, because I'm asking him to come forward into the light and he's a little bit shy to do so, I think. Oh, now, does chauffeur drivers wear black? Chauffeur driver, that would... Because I feel that this... See, because he's in the shadow, I don't know if... I was looking at the fact that he was... It could be grey, but or it could be blue. I have no idea. But what I can see, the silhouette, I'm just going to describe the silhouette because he's just adamant he's not going to come forward into the light. It looks like it's like either a black suit or a black kind of uniform. It could be grey because it's in the shadows. And a flat cap. And I thought it was maybe like a colonel or maybe flat cap, soldier cap. But thinking on it, chauffeurs wear flat caps as well, I believe. Or at least the films that I've seen chauffeurs in, they wear those fancy flat cap. But very, I feel that this man isn't old, so I don't think he's in his 80s. I feel he was kind of middle-aged, maybe, when he passed over, and could possibly be chauffeur-like. Just looking at his silhouette. Right, okay, he passed young. Okay. When we're saying young, are we talking like 20s, 30s? Because that's kind of where I see this man, in his 20s, 30s. I don't think he reached his 40s. Let's just say that. I really don't think he doesn't look as if he's reached his 40 or he reached his 40s. But yes, he was always very smartly dressed. He liked his appearance. Oh, okay. See, I am hopeless at ages. Absolutely hopeless at ages. So if he was in his 40s, did he actually look younger than 40s? Because I would never, just looking at him, I would never say he was in his 40s. But then, as I said, age can be deceiving. Because I think this man was very modest about his, very, not modest, what's the word I'm looking for? He liked to look his best. He couldn't go out the door without looking his best. You know, his hair was in place, his shoes were polished. He was just, he took pride in his appearance, if that makes sense. You know, I can see him as one of these ones that had his hair brow creamed to sit in place or gel to sit in place so that there wasn't a hair out of place. Right, okay. See, I can't see his hair because he's got this cap on. He's got this flat cap on. So I don't know if his hair's white. I'm actually asking him if he'll come into the light just to confirm who he is, you know, or even take his cap off. That would be a start. But yeah, I feel he has always been with you, but because of Nan, of course, he hasn't really had much of a chance to come forward. I feel he knows that you have been thinking of him a lot, and that I guess part of him wanted to come through sooner. However, I think because of the way that he passed and the loss that you would have felt for this man was so immense. I mean, yes, you had lost people in the past, I feel, but when this person passed, it was like your whole world came crashing down around your full shoulders, kind of thing, and there was just this huge void that nobody could fill bar him, if that makes sense. This is what he's kind of saying, and he knows that because he's been with you every step of the way. He says the amount of tears that were shed when he passed, you know, he says too many to count. And he didn't want to add to that, if that makes sense, by coming through too early. Okay, right, okay, that's why he's saying he felt he couldn't come through sooner. And I guess that also explains why he can't come out of the shadows. I guess it isn't, you know, in case he didn't know what it was. I don't know. Right, he was there for a minute. I'm on my old tablet, so do excuse the old tablet. Okay, that makes sense. Right, he's coming forward slightly, and he's taking his cap off. He's honoured, I'm taking my cap off, right? His hair is I would say Snow White, right? Not as in Snow White black hair, but like Snow White, pure white. So yeah, I think that's confirmation. It was him. He is smiling. Wow, what a handsome young man this was. And yeah, you know, tragic love story, whatever. And that's why he's saying, he's asking your forgiveness for not coming through sooner. And he knows you have been desperately hoping that he was going to come through, but he just felt he couldn't at that particular time. And even now, he was walking on eggshells, wondering whether to actually show himself, which is why he was hidden in the shadows. He's now saying, can I go back in the shadows now? No, he can't. We've seen your face. So no, don't go back in the shadows. And he said, oh no, that's what he was trying to avoid. He didn't want any more tears. He says, I've gone and done it now. There's more, you know, that's what he didn't want. I'm trying to say to him, it's happy tears though. But now he's saying, can you see why he waited before coming through? He'd said if he'd come through earlier, would it have upset you more? Yes, probably would. right? Because the feelings were, he feels that the feelings were still raw, as in a good raw, not a bad raw. And he didn't want that. He said, I needed to allow her to grieve. I needed to allow her to heal from his passing, because it was such a wrench. You know, and he said, he's the one that's basically said, people have come and go in your life, and yes, you've grieved for them, but none had the impact that this man's passing had on you. No other person that you have had in your life, if that makes sense, anyone else passing, did not have this massive wrench, this massive feeling of loss. It's like he's saying when he passed over, he could sense what you were feeling. He could feel your feelings, your upset. He saw every tear fall. But he said the best way he can describe it is, you might have just as well gone to Lucy, opened her up, grabbed her heart and ripped her heart out. That's how his passing affected you. It was like somebody physically ripped the heart from you. Yeah, and that's what he said. There was no time. And I think, when you expect somebody to pass over, it doesn't come as, we still grieve them, but it doesn't hit us as hard as somebody going so quickly. And when that happens, when they go quickly and there's just no time, no time to say goodbye is what he's saying, right? And he's saying there was absolutely nothing anybody could do. It was just how it happened. Had he known how quickly it would have happened, yes, he could have probably tried to prepare you and others for his passing. There was just no time, he said. He just keeps saying there was just no time. Does that make sense? He just said he knows his passing tore so many hearts wide open. And he knows that. It's a little bit of a way, for a long time he also had to go through a healing process on the other side. He said it was so quick. His passing, the way it happened was so quick. He had to go through major adjustments, because he said at first he didn't even realise he had passed over. It happened so quick. He didn't know right at the beginning that he was actually on the other side. And when he's talking 10 to a dozen now, I can't shut him up now. But he's basically saying, when you go from 1 minute being on the earth plane and suddenly you've passed over, it's a big shock to the system. And you have to adjust. You have to adjust of a new way of being, a new way of living. And then he kind of went through all of the, I didn't have time to do this, or I didn't have time to say this, or I wish I could have said this before I came over here. Why didn't you give me the time? There is so many regrets that he had, if that makes sense. And he says he also knows that it works both ways, right? He's seen from himself that it works both ways. Because, like, for example, with your mum, right? He knows there's so much that your mum wanted to say to him before he passed, and there was just no time. And he's asking, can you please let her know he knows? He knows all the things that she wanted to say to him because he's heard every thought. Because we do that, don't we? We when people pass, we often say to ourselves, I wish I could have said this. Or I wish I could have told him this just one time. And it goes over and over in your head. But here's the thing, when it does go over and over in our heads, Spirit here. So he's asking, can you please let her know he knows? Don't have any more regrets, because he knows. And everything that she had hoped to say to him, or even yourself hoped to say to him, he knows, he's heard, is what he's saying. Oh, bless. Oh. I'm just flicking up through the comments just in case I've missed anything. Okay. Do you know what? That is the most beautiful example of somebody passing over. I've heard so many spirit talking about their passing, and some, go through a less transition time than others. But I feel that he had a lot of healing to do, and he knows that you and your mum had a lot of healing to do as well. And he said all he can ask is your forgiveness and your mum's forgiveness for not coming through earlier. But he felt that it was still raw. Feelings were still raw. He says that your mum, I don't know if this is true or not, you can ask your mum, but I'm just passing on what he is telling me. But he's saying he still appears in your mum's dreams. Whether she is aware of that, he does not know. He's hoping that she knows. But he tries to get in to her dreams to kind of let her know he's still around. Because, he feels that she's always believed he's around. But because she can't sense or see him, she sometimes doubts it or sometimes wonders if he's still around, etc., etc. So he's been doing his bit, and he's been trying to interact with her dreams, her subconscious, if you will, to kind of let her know that he is still around and he is still thinking of her. Oh, bless. Well, he's saying, he just asks that she forgives him for not coming through sooner. Just like he had to heal on the other side, he felt that your mom and everyone, he touched so many lives, he said. He's, in his short lifetime, and being in his 40s is relatively short. My father passed away at 51, and I still feel that even 51 is too short a life to be on this earth plane. But he's saying, when you're in your 40s, you think you have your whole life ahead of you, and that you're still young. And he was relatively still young in his 40s. And when that's taken away from you quicker than you thought, it's a huge adjustment to make on the other side. And he's, he wishes he could have stayed longer. He wishes he had even a few months extra, few weeks extra, few days even extra. However, it wasn't to be. And he says we can't go back and change that. But we can heal from it. And one thing that he says, if he was going to pass on anything to you and your mum, it is, should I say. He's saying it's not was, it is. He says the wisdom and the message he would like to pass on is live every day to its max. You know, live your dreams now. Make plans for your present and your future now. Because had he done that, he would have passed over with no regrets. But he said, sadly, we think we've got forever and a day. We think we've got our whole lives ahead of us. But he says that life can be snuffed out in a moment. And we can't turn back the clocks. We can't come back. We only have the option to go forward, whether it be on the earth plane or whether it be in spirit realm. We can only go forward. And that was a hard adjustment for him to make on the other side, just because of how quickly things progressed. But adjust he did. And, you know, he says he doesn't want his life, or short though it was, to go to waste. So basically what he's saying is, if he had his life to live over, he would have made sure that he lived every single second of every single day to the max, that he would not put off today till tomorrow what he could do today. But that's all very well and good in hindsight to think that way. However, realistically, life don't be that way, right? We think we've got forever and a day to do all the things that we need to do. And he says, believe you me, we haven't. Life is fleeting, and before we know it, it's gone. So he's saying, you know, he loves that you take life by the balls, as he's saying. Very gentlemanly, like. I can't believe I've just said that, but he says, you know, that's how he said it. I'm just repeating. But he says, sometimes you just have to take life by the balls and just go for it. You know, don't second guess nothing. Don't sit on the fence about anything, but just grab life with both hands and go steaming ahead with any plans or dreams or ambitions that you have. Because we just never know if tomorrow's going to come. We could go to bed tonight and wake up on the other side. Oh, bless. There you go. There you go. He's saying he feels that your mum put off doing things after he passed over because she needed that time to grieve. And he's saying, please ask her not to put off things that is in her heart to do. She's a bugger for putting things off. And he's saying, can you please pass on the message that she's to go and follow those dreams. She's to follow her ambitions. She's to do the things that she wanted to do, but just couldn't. Oh, bless. I'm so glad she did. But yeah, I'm just so glad that she followed her dreams and her wishes and did the things that he so wishes that he could have done. He's saying if he's behind or he's a little bit forward, his time and your time, blah, blah, blah. He says, please forgive him. He's just not got used to spirit time and earth time yet. He's still trying to figure all of that out. Because I've said in so many of my readings, our time on earth and spirit time are so different. We could be in today, they could be in 2 months behind, or they could be months ahead, depending on whereabout they are. Because, spirit realm is universal, right? You just need to look at the different time zones here on earth. That's just on earth. So could you imagine what time zones are like universe-wide, right? Which is why scientists reckon that if you go on to certain planets and you were to look down on the earth, you would see dinosaurs, right? Because on certain planets, we haven't evolved yet, because their time scales is different, right? So he's saying if he says anything in future tense or past tense, please forgive him. He's just adjusting to the time difference. And I'm just telling him that, that's even more confusing, considering that our clocks just went back an hour at the weekend there, so that's going to confuse him even more. But yeah, he says he doesn't know what day of the week it is, let alone what month or century it is. He's still trying to work all of that out. But he's glad that he's came through now, all but very tediously. And he thanks your Nan for allowing him to come through. Your Nan's sitting bubbling in the corner. Just saying. She's having a few tears in the corner. I think she's been wanting him to come through for a while as well, so I think it's kind of hit your Nan a wee bit as well. She says, it's tears of joy. I'm fine. I'm not upset. I'm fine. It's just tears of joy. I'll be back in a minute, she says. She'll be going and getting her, what do you call it? What was it they used to call those man-sized tissues? Andrex is a toilet tissue. You know the one I'm on about. They came in a big tissue box, and it was like man-sized tissues. I can't remember the name of them now. See, I'm getting older and my memory goes, but they had the little pretty pink boxes with the ladies' tissues, and then they had the man-size. Hankies, yes. Hanky, that's probably why your Nan's crying in the corner. She says, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Oops. That's my ears rang for the day, right? But I just seen her having a little few tears. Yeah. Hankies is, there was an actual name for them. Oh my God. It starts with a K. I'm sure it starts with a K. It's not Kleenex. Oh my gosh, I'll think, you know what, it'll come to me, but they, I can see the old advert, and it was about this box of tissues, and it was like man-sized tissue, and then you had the ladies' hankies, and you had the man-size tissues. Anyway, she's sitting there with the man-sized tissues. I think, I don't know where the Colonel came into it. Don't know where the Colonel come into it at all. But yeah, I don't know why he came in with Colonel. Maybe somebody called him Colonel as a nickname. I have no idea. But yeah, that's a bit confusing that he came in as Colonel or Colonel. I don't know. Kleenex, that's it. Kleenex. Thank you, Lucy. I'm sitting there going, what the heck were those handkerchiefs called? And they were like double the size of ladies' handkerchiefs, but they were for the men. My mum always had a small, petite pink box of hankies, and then she had the Kleenex for the men. So, like, if my granddad was in tears or whatever else, she would hand him the Kleenex, and if it was my nan or whatever, or my gran or whatever, she would hand him the little pretty pink boxes, yeah. And it was black. The box that the Kleenex was in was black. It was a long box. It was more like an oblong box, long box, whereas the ladies were like more dainty and square shaped. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, this young man is saying, yeah, and if you've not got any Kleenex, just use your shirt. Nobody knows if it's tucked inside your suit. Yeah, thanks for that. I've just got this vision now, yeah, pulling out his shirt, blowing his nose on the shirt and tucking it back in his pants. Yeah, okay, thanks for that. But yeah, but let's just stick with the Kleenex. I think that's a better choice. I just love Lucy's family, from the nan to the chauffeur driver here. He's got some character, but quite a charmer as well. I feel that he was quite dapper with the ladies. He was a ladies' man, let's just say. But on saying that, he had eyes only for one. There was only one lady in his life, and still is, even on the other side. He says, there was only one true love in his life, and she still is, which I think is sweet. So, yeah, I'm glad that your nan let him through, because, let's face it, your nan hardly lets anyone through, or very rarely anyway, and when she does, it's usually for a short time. He's tipping his hat to you and your mum. Very gentlemanly. I love this gentleman. It's the first time I've seen him. I'm glad he came out of the shadows, and I've seen his face. I feel he was clean shaven. There's no sign of a beard or anything. He was like clean shaven, which is why I'm thinking he was very, he was very dapper. He took care of his appearance, etc., etc. And he said, between you and him and probably the gatepost, he absolutely hated that his hair went white. But he says, what can you do? But do you know what? I think he actually quite suits his white hair. Just saying. But yeah, I feel he was clean shaven. He was one of these ones that did the old time shaving with the shaving foam and the old shaving brush, and I can just see him in the shaving mirror and using the shaving blade. He was that type of a gentleman. So I hope his coming through tonight has sort of not put closure, because it never is closure. Spirit are always, always, always with us. He was just choosing his time. And even tonight, he was a bit unsure whether he should have come forward. He didn't know what kind of reception he would get, whether it would be upsetting, whether it was the right time. But he says, with your coaxing, and I guess with your nan's little bit of a shove and coax, he got there in the end. And he just tipping his hat to you and your mum, sending you his love, sending you lots of blessings, and thanking you for calling him through, I guess, or calling him top, because when we think about loved ones, especially if we're going to join a reading like such as my readings tonight, and we think of our loved ones, guaranteed they're going to be here. I just need to think of my mom, and she comes through. or I think of my dad and he comes through. Because thoughts can travel just like words. They can be heard just like words. So I'm so glad that you were able to jump on this readings night and ask for a card. I'm just having a look at the time-wise. Oh, we're at, oh my goodness me, 11:15 already. I don't know if anyone else is with us. I know Wendy popped in, and we've done a card for Lucy. So we've done 2 readings tonight. I'm not sure if anybody else has joined in. Or anybody is watching, because Facebook is funny. Sometimes it shows me the comments and sometimes it doesn't. I do apologise for the bad camera today. I'm on my old tablet. My other tablet, it's a hit or a miss whether it charges or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. However, I've pretty much gave up fighting with it, so I'm going to be getting a new one, hopefully this week sometime, if not next week, but I'm hoping this week I get a new one, and then it's going to keep its charge for one, and then I can have a better camera on it, because this one is a bit as old as me, this tablet. It's an old Samsung one, whereas the other one was a Dragonfire or something like that. Brand I'd never heard of, and although the camera's reasonably okay, it doesn't have a great memory on it, and it doesn't have a great charging port on it, and sometimes it charges, sometimes it doesn't. It's just a pain in the backside. Me and technology, in fact, witches in general and technology sometimes just don't go hand in hand, but I'm glad I have got a spare, because without that spare I wouldn't be able to do these live readings for you every Wednesday. Now, I would love to do more lives on the public page, but then that's not going to help this small group to get more people on board with the small group. So for a little while, I'm going to continue to do my lives in this group. I will always announce on the main page when I'm going live, so that people can go from my main page to this group. I just feel that, it'd be nice if we can get this group up and running and people talking and communicating and sharing posts, etc. That would be really, really nice if we could get the group growing. We now have 102 members, which is absolutely amazing. And I'd like to thank all that have joined this group for your continued support with my group, because without you, the group wouldn't be going. As I said, in life, sometimes it's easier to give up than to keep trying with things. And there are so many times I have thought about just throwing in the towel. When I started this group, I had about 10 to 20 people. And it stayed at 10 to 20 people for a long time, and it never seemed to get anywhere. And I'm thinking, I'm coming on every day doing these lives and nothing's happening, just as well calling it quits. But then what else would I do? If I didn't do my healings, if I didn't do my teachings, if I didn't do my readings, I wouldn't be me. I was put on this earth to heal, to help other people, and I've walked through hell and fire and brimstone, getting to where I am now, and I'm sure there'll be enemies in my present and in my future. I'll deal with them as I always have, one by one, and I'll continue doing what I'm doing, just because I love doing what I'm doing. So I think we can call this session the end, right? I think we've come to the end of the session because we are now 17 minutes past 11, and even if we had somebody else joining in on the readings, it would probably be a very short reading. So I'm going to thank Wendy Janine and Lucy Lou for jumping on and supporting this live tonight. I hope your reading has meaning for you both. I'm sending you both lots of love and hugs. Spirit send their lots of love and hugs as well. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to pass these messages on to you both. If you're watching this on the replay, it won't have live up there. Hashtag replay. If you're watching it on YouTube, which I will be sharing it to YouTube, say hi. Come in and say hi. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't joined my Facebook group, The Mystic Witch, come along and you'll see me every day live, doing a card of the day live or an Avira live or whatever the case may be. I'm always live in the Mystic Witch group on Facebook. And then I share it to my public page, but I also share it on YouTube as well. So if you're watching this on the replay via YouTube or via the Mystic Witch public page, whatever, then please hashtag replay. Let me know where you're watching from. So I'm going to go and leave you with lots of love and bright blessings, and thank you all for your continued support. If you have a friend or a relation who you feel would benefit from this group and from these weekly readings, or just simply from the natural products that I promote in the Mystic Witch via my Avira Mystic Witch shop, then please feel free to add them to the group. I'd like to thank all newcomers to the group, and if you are new to this group, I hope you're enjoying all the lives and the content in the group. I'm going to go and spend the rest of the evening with my wonderful partner, and I'm going to catch up on Wendy's live because I know Wendy was going to do a live before she popped, went to bed for the night because she's a busy bee with her new job, etc. So I'm going to go and support my sister on her live and answer a few messages that have come in whilst I've been on live. So till then, take care, lots of love and bright blessings. Speak to you all soon, and I'll see you live tomorrow. Till then, love you all. Bye for now.